English 121, Day 7, The Rhetorical Situation, from the Allen and Bacon Guide, pages 15 to 23. This is the rhetorical situation. You may have also heard it referred to as the writing situation or the hierarchy of rhetorical concerns. It involves all the necessary elements that a text must have and that good critical readers must consider when they are analyzing the text, including the writer, the purpose that that writer was trying to achieve, the audience that that writer was trying to achieve their purpose with, whatever genre form the text takes, as well as any surrounding context that would affect how the writer or the audience approaches the text. Always consider these 5 elements when reading a text critically. First of all, the purpose. Writers ask questions of their subject matter when they sit down to compose a text, including what am I trying to accomplish in this text, and what do I want my readers to believe, see, or do. Writers compose text because of a motivating occasion or exigency that gets them going. Exigency is an urgent or pressing cause that requires immediate action. Rhetoricians use the term to describe the event or occasion that causes a writer to begin writing. Exigency can be internal, as when the writer feels some stimulation or desire to address a rhetorical aim within him or herself. Exigency can also be external, as when a writer is for some reason obligated or promoted to pursue a rhetorical aim. For this course, you'll be writing out of external exigency, because the syllabus and grading requirements obligate you to do so. However, ideally, you will also write because you have become engaged with an intellectual problem and want to say something significant about it. In that sense, it would have internal exigency for you. Do you think that Dr. Martin Luther King, in his I Have a Dream speech, was motivated by internal or external exigency? Look at Table 1.2 in your text for a list of different goals that writers have when they sit down to compose a text. Writers compose texts out of a desire to achieve a rhetorical aim. They may want to express their ideas, explore their ideas, inform their readers of an idea or a particular set of information. They may wish to analyze and synthesize information or break an idea down into its parts and put them back together. Many writers write to persuade their audience, or they may be writing merely to reflect. Understanding a writer's goals can help you understand the different ways that texts are structured and developed, and can help you clarify the writer's relationship to the audience. Audience is the next element you want to consider when reading a text rhetorically. Writers ask questions of their audience when they sit down to compose a text, including what are my readers' values and assumptions, what do they already know or believe about my subject, and how much do they care about my subject. It's very difficult when you're trying to reach a broad, diverse audience to be able to answer these questions for each audience member. But writers have to be tuned into their audiences so that they can meet the needs of the most audience members. The first step is to identify what you know about your readers, including their familiarity with your subject matter, their reasons for reading, their closeness to you, their values and beliefs, and this will all affect the choices a writer makes. Writers must be sure of who their audience is before they sit down to write. Audiences, as I mentioned, can be very general. This is a large, non-specific audience that shares just a few qualities in common. Because you can't account for everyone in such a broad group, you'll need to make some assumptions about their knowledge and beliefs. This may be a popular audience, for example, or an academic audience, but it's going to be very broad in general. On the contrary, a select audience is just a small group of people to whom a text is addressed. This might be, for example, a board of trustees or a neighborhood association. It's much more focused than a broad general audience. And then, finally, a writer may be writing for just a single audience. This is one person to whom a text is addressed. For example, it might be your professor. Now, when working with a general audience, you want to try to imagine within that general audience an implied stable target based on your own assumptions about the knowledge and beliefs of your general audience. This might be within the larger population, parents, educators, people in the healthcare field, people in the military, just some way to narrow that general audience down to be able to meet its needs a little more clearly. Academic audiences also have high demands as to what a text needs to have in order to meet their needs. The most common general audience in academic writing is an academic readership that you should think of as student peers who have approximately the same level of knowledge and expertise in the field as you do, who are engaged by the question you address, who want to read your writing and will be surprised by it in some way, and who maintain the same standards of citation and originality as you and your instructors. Once you know who your audience is, you can analyze that audience. You must make judgments about their knowledge of the issue at hand, their motivations for reading, their relationship to the subject matter, and their general values, interests, attitudes, and beliefs. Consider how a change in audience might affect the content of a piece of writing. Also consider the genre or the form that the writing takes. Writers ask questions of their form when they sit down to compose a text, including what kind of document am I writing and what are its requirements for structure, style, and document design. For example, newspapers and journalistic writing have very specific demands as to not only how the text is laid out on the page, but how the paragraphs are written and the types of language that are used. So as implied, the term genre refers to categories of writing forms that follow certain conventions of style, structure, approach to subject matter, and document design. The genre of a text creates strong reader expectations and places specific demands on writers. Even when writers deviate from these conventions, they tend to do so in a conventional way. Breaking from these conventions altogether will disrupt your audience's expectations and pull them away from the text. Look in Table 1.3 of the Allen and Bacon Guide for examples of genre types, including personal writing, academic writing, pop culture writing, as in magazines or television shows, civic writing, which can be one of your most important responsibilities as a democratic citizen, professional writing, like you might do in the workplace, and even literary writing. Always consider how the type of genre is going to be affected by the audience. And consider all elements of the rhetorical situation when reading a text critically.